for the day. But before we do the quote, I'm going to give you my Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge of allegiance to the Constitution of the United States of America and to the republic for which the flag stands, one nation under Almighty God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You know, I always try to bring up a quote, so I'm going to see if this one is not a rerun, but I'm going to put it up there anyway. Any man can make mistakes, but only an idiot persists in his error. Again, any man can make mistakes, but only an idiot persists in his errors. Okay, there you go. And so, you know, this show is about the 5 branches of government, but we're only going to be covering 4, and we're actually only going to be covering 1 of those 4. The first branch of the government is the executive branch. The second is the judicial. And the third is the legislative. We know what that is. In fact, I did a whole podcast or a good part of the podcast, explaining this to the masses. Because every now and then we have a tendency to forget the littlest things of what our country was based on in that valuable living, breathing document called the Constitution. And so why do I say there are 5 branches? Well, the one branch we're not going to cover today, because I want to do that at a later time, is bureaucracy, the bureaucrats. And I'll leave it at that for the moment, because they're the ones that are making so many decisions for the government against the people of the United States, against the legal citizens, against the good Americans, we the people. That would be bureaucracy. And believe me, when we get into that, it's going to be a nice little mix. I guarantee you, we're going to have fun with that one. But the one I want to cover tonight is something that's really huge. It's called media propaganda. I've got a special guest that's going to be visiting me. He and I had spoken a few times on the phone. He even said that, gosh, he'd love to come on and just would not want to be on the screen. We can understand why, folks. If you know my special guest, his name is Jimmy the Putz Potts, editor of the Cameron Citizens Observer. And yes, he's actually with me. I have so much to explain to you about his commitment and his contributions to the community. In fact, I can't even say it as well as he can. And this all really came to a head last week. And we couldn't have been blessed with anything more than, well, let's go to the first little picture. Apparently, there was an arrest warrant issued for him for not showing up to a court back in August. And what was it about? Well, I could do something really cute, and I'm going to. It was basically Jimmy can't get his pussy registered with the city. I mean, he really was going. He has a warrant out for his arrest for not getting his pussy registered with the city. I can't make this stuff up, folks. I really can't. It's what it is. And hey, how can you even think that a person could really just do something so simple as protect his pet? I'm all about animals, and I mean, my cats are my life. I love them, all 3 of them. 2-legged cat, a 3-legged cat, and a 4-legged cat. I talked about them before, but we're not here to talk about my cats. My cats are registered. They are all chipped and all 9 yards. Get their shots. That's what you should do. But this is something that came to me literally days ago on Sunday, I believe. I don't have a calendar close by, but I wanted to read this to you just to give you an idea of who I'm talking about, because he did so well to give me his own biography. And I'm not afraid to show it. And here we go. Yikes, Vince. This would be Putz's last text to me. Yikes, Vince. It really must bother you that so many people appreciate my contributions to Cameron. Mind you, he's the editor of the Citizens Observer, and he makes it and turns it into a rag mag when it should be a newspaper. But let's continue on. Since your cancellation attempt, I have no idea about that. Countless city and county leaders, not to mention multiple members of law enforcement and veterans, messaged me saying, thank you for what you do in Cameron. I don't know about you, but that kind of sounds like he's really narcissistic and self-centered. I mean, he loves this. He had to write this just to bolster, I believe, his confidence, I guess. I don't know. As much as you try, you're not part of this community. Well, that's true. I don't live in Cameron, but I know many people down there. And as much as he doesn't know this, I have many friendships there and around the state and around the country. And that's just because I am that. But I guess I'm not part of the community as much as I try, in his opinion. As I wrote in my column, which is flying off the sales racks as we speak, you and your colleagues are just another rendition of the Westboro Baptist Church, signs and all. I'll be putting up a clip, an editorial he wrote about us. I'm going to do my best to be able to read it. If not, I've got the copy of it in front of me. If I'm not mistaken, it was a very ugly situation where the Westboro Baptist Church people were in conflict with the burial of a decorated veteran who, by the way, had basically served his term, and in his lifetime, I don't know the exact story, but either which way it goes, they were really not happy with this man's funeral at all. And that's sad. It's so sad. And a funeral should be sacred. It really should. It shouldn't be hostile. I don't care who you are, but many men and women have died for our liberties, our freedoms, our pursuit of happiness in life. And I guess this group of people were pretty much ugly people. That much I do know. I got to get going, though. Lots of articles to write for an audience I built. Now, notice he says an audience I built. I guess the staff, and I know of a few of these ladies there, I guess the staff at the Cameron Observer newspaper really haven't contributed. They really haven't done anything. They really just rely solely upon the Putz. That's pretty bold statement there. Narcissistic, self-centered. I don't know what else I can say about it. It's just a bold statement. But this is a kicker, folks. This is the one that I'm laughing at the most. It's not easy being a pillar of the community. I want to repeat that. In his mind, in his little mind, it's not easy being a pillar of the community. But I suppose you'll never know. I guess I never will. That's all I have to say to you. Don't message me again. I'll consider it a form of harassment. And you don't need any more of that. He's referring, of course, to a case of which I'm currently in the midst of. I don't understand this. But think about this. Don't message me again. I'll consider it a form of harassment. Now, folks, if I had a news story, something big, which I did way back when, attempted to tell them about it back in October of 22, about a girl being voted in by the students as homecoming king. It's all, you can look it up. King Arthur was her name. Natalie's name was King Arthur. That's what Natalie went by, was King Arthur. And it's sad because the rite of passage of those men and young boys, or young men, there you go, young men, it's a rite of passage to become king of the prom. And yet, the student body was allowed the luxury of naming King Arthur homecoming king. Natalie, homecoming king. I've talked about this discussion with many folks, and I just want you to consider this thought. Your son is named homecoming king, which, by the way, has happened in 2 other schools here in Missouri. Can't make it up. 3, I think. Yeah, 3, I think, so far since like 1920, 1919. 3 men, young men, were voted for homecoming king, and the queens were queers. They were young men dressed up like girls as if it were Halloween. And if my son was the king for that school he was representing, shout out to my son, by the way. If he was the king of the prom, and I did ask him, how would you feel about dancing with the queer queen of the prom, feeling their twigs and berries rubbing on you as you danced with them? Well, you already know the answer. My son's a very rational, common sense young man. He would not have gone down for that. And I'm quite confident many other young men would not feel comfortable in that scenario. But that was a story that I tried to introduce to the Putz, and he wanted nothing to do with it. And yet we've had that going on in our society in Missouri. Not 1, not 2, but 3 schools have done this so far. I can't remember the names of them. It's not what this show is about. But the fact of the matter is, the rites of passages of young men are being violated every single bit, as the rites of passages for the young women that are competing in sports, be it swimming, track, any kind of field events, you name it, field hockey, MMA fighting, and these women are weightlifting. These women are getting devastated. Bicyclists getting devastated by men, biological men, who think that it's Halloween, who think that they're little girls, who think that they're little women, who think that they're a princess, when in reality, they couldn't make a pimple on a goose's egg in competing against other biological men and boys. Yeah, I'm taking a stand here. If you don't like it, sorry, but I'm going to take that stand. It's biology. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure this out. Men and women are different. That's all. So I tried to do this with him. And I thought to myself, I'm not liking this guy. He's not going to, quote unquote, he is not going to do the right thing and inform the public. And he didn't, of course. Later on, of course, he apologized. But I'm going to turn around and give you one of his stories. It was one of the first ones that caught my interest. It goes like this: Landy lies by omission and a solution for book bans. Now, Dan Landy is a personal friend of mine, and I'm about ready to do a video of Dan. I'm hoping I'm going to hit the right one. I'm hoping. And in doing so, I got to tell you about this man. His writing is on WordPress.com, www.wordpress.com. His writing is incredible. I can't even begin to tell you. His writing is truly incredible. And he is able to do things in short. He can take a topic and do it so well. It just makes me, I'm so proud of him. I'm just so proud of him. But I'm going to see if I get the right one up here right now. And I'm going to share it. This would be the wrong one. This would be the wrong one. This would be the wrong one. I want to go to still another one. So let me go back to the screen here. By the way, my executive producer, God bless his whole soul, he couldn't make it today. He just couldn't make it. We're going to bring this back down, and we're going to remove it. We're going to stop screen on it. There we go. And he couldn't make it down, so let's try this one. But you know, the fact of the matter is, it's sad that he goes through such lengths to. This is his conflict. This is his conflict. Again, this is his conflict with Dan Landy, whom I absolutely cannot tell you enough, but Dan is an incredible person. So it's about 2 minutes long. I'm going to continue on and see how
Why do I have an audience that's bigger than the camera community, Scorn, the radio station, anybody else in the city limits? Keep laughing. Keep laughing. Because all you're doing is being a dumbass.
They're not 5'11s, right?
If nobody is interested in extracurricular activities become private, who's going to pay for a 15,000 tuba? I don't want to have shit with you. Don't say, hey, so no.
That would be three, not one, not two, but three. Dan Landy actually offered him an olive branch to sit down at the table with a cup of coffee. But let's continue with his display. This is professionalism at its best.
No. First of all, let's not. You're the guy going up. You're the guy going up and calling teachers groomers, and
You apologize.
you owe them an apology, Dan. You're calling them child molesters. You're calling them child molesters, and you're insulting people.
I didn't call anybody.
Now, let me explain something about this. Holding up a groomer sign is not calling anyone a child molester. He actually starts talking about the Parkview principal who was not there. This would be Jimmy the Putz. And during this address to the school board members, he would just hold the sign up regardless of who was talking. Because the bottom line is this. We have these books in a library, and they are definitely books that mislead children and place children into dangerous situations with pedophiles. Notice the word I just used. Predators. Notice the word I just used. Sick people who do evil things to our children. And basically, he is just, I can't say it. Putz is just unprofessional. And in front of these ladies, he's cursing left and right, and he can't maintain himself. But listen to what he says about Dan Landy and the people in general.
Yeah, what do you call a groomer? Oh, I know. They're little children. I know. They never grow up. It's okay.
Little children, grown men and women that are trying to protect the children, protect the little children. And he says, we are little children. And I put myself into the category because I support, endorse, and assist in any way possible with the men and women that are trying to get rid of pornography that's being presented and distributed through the public library, paid for by tax citizens, and even on a TikTok video by the librarian, Tanya O'Boyles herself, bribing children with candy to read books that are about to be banned. All you have to do is archive it. I've got it. It's on February the 23rd of 23. Okay. Here we go.
It takes a big man to curse in front of ladies.
Hey, it takes a bigger man to call an innocent person a child molester. So, hey, and bear in mind, you're a police officer. You've actually dealt with child molesters. That's the sick part. So let's say about your law enforcement. Or how about the fact that your boss? How about the fact that your boss has decided to get fired? How about that?
Now, right there is a 100% lie in the midst of how many people? We can't see the rest of the people in the room, but I'm gonna just throw a ballpark figure out there of about 12 to 20 people heard him say to Dan Landy, that he was forced to resign or get fired. Now, let me tell you a little bit more about Mr. Landy. Patriot Posts, that's what he's been writing for about 10 years with www.wordpress.com. This man served as a state trooper for 27 years. He woke up, put on his uniform, and I'm going to tell you right now, any man and woman that has that shield on their chest, they are walking into danger at any given time. They can be stabbed, they can be shot, they can be bludgeoned. It doesn't. Their life is on the line. And this man, if that's what you want to call the Putz, I can't call it. I accidentally did. This person, this individual, turned around and said that he was forced to resign or get fired. Here we go. Continue on.
You're not a member of law enforcement. Your boss literally said, give me your letter of resignation or get fired.
You know,
Huh?
Gary.
You're not, I'm not the violent person. I'm not the crazy person.
yes, ma'am.
Oh, I know. Not a very good person, obviously.
So he's not the violent person. He's not the crazy person. He's just throwing all kinds of hateful words at a man that served our community. I'll tell you what, Paperboy Putz, you should have kept your mouth shut. It was everything for myself. I have to tell you, folks, I'm a very, if you don't know this about me already, I'm a very brash individual. And I mean, I'm brash. I'm brazen and I'm bold. And I say it the way I see it. I call no ball, all balls, all strikes. And I have to tell you, if I was 20 years younger with the mindset I had back then, I would have probably just knocked his teeth down his throat. To insult a man who woke up for 27 years to protect our community in lieu of the possibility of taking a bullet, dying for our safety and protection in the service of the community. This is a professional news editor? Come on. Come on, man. He's a disgrace. He is a disgrace. But it gets only better. It gets only better because he likes to insult. So I'm gonna do another screen share here. I have to do it. He likes to insult the community across the board. He feels as though that the community, I don't know any other way of saying it. He feels as though that the community needs to know how brilliant he is. So I'm just going to let this one play out.
Will you introduce yourself?
Oh, I'm
please?
Jimmy Potts. I'm the editor of the Innocence Observer. So a few of the books that were on there, Friday by Robert Heinlein. I think it was Slaughterhouse-Five by Kurt Vonnegut. Just out of curiosity, for anyone in the audience,
Sir, you'll have to address the board.
Well,
Yeah.
okay.
It's the rules.
Let's see if anybody on the board or anybody in the audience, since people just want to chime in.
Well, we'll just have you address.
Well,
it.
and if anyone
Thank you.
knows the answer, could somebody tell me what the character who kidnapped Billy Pilgrim in Slaughterhouse-Five? Anybody? Who?
Sir, you'll have to address the board.
Okay.
Sorry.
Anybody? No one knows that? Okay, how about who is the main character in the book Friday and what does she do for a living? Anybody? I know. Hey, we have people shouting out random answers. What was the instigating or the instigating event in The Hate You Give? Anyone from the crowd, if you're interested.
Please address the board.
And I think the silence is because nobody read these books. Nobody knows that Kurt Vonnegut is a purposely subversive writer. I mean, I would say some of his works are specifically designed towards people 17, 18 years old. I think a lot of these assessments are made by people who didn't read the book, but by people who read summaries of the book that might have been politically motivated. And maybe the board should take that into consideration when they're reviewing these books. And I just think it's a classic illustration of adult illiteracy. Like people want to take other people's summations of a book rather than reading it for themselves and getting the entire context. I can't speak for everything. I think just by the silence of my questions, it kind of answers it. So thank you.
Thank you.
Now, basically, the paperboy, Putz, says parents opposing sexual content in the school suffer from adult illiteracy. If that's not an insult, I have to tell you, if that is not an insult, I do not know or understand what it is. No, let's stop that one. I don't want that going in the background. at all. I just don't want that. But you know, the thing is, it's sad. It's just so sad that this man thinks that the people of the Cameron community are stupid and they're illiterate because he knows Kurt Vonnegut, and he really basically gets on his knees at night, I'm sure, before he goes to bed to read this guy and pay homage to him. I don't care. We all have our favorite authors. We all have our favorite horror movies are for some people, not for me. Sports are for other people to watch, but not for me. And all I can tell you is this man is really just one of those. I'm better than everyone else. And I'm going to show the next clip because I just think it's adorable. This is the final clip. This is good stuff. This is the stuff that dreams are made of. And I cannot begin to tell you where he is at on this. I just can't. So here we go. I'm going to full screen it, get myself to the side here. And
all right, well, let's see how bad this one is. Da, 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 da. Da, da.
Crazy. How bad this one is? Well, you know, he has a very difficult time, in my opinion, of really being a fine journalist. Does he have the potential? I believe he does. I've sat down and talked to him several times in the past, up until lately. I don't have time for him naturally. Plus, if I were to contact him again, he said it. You saw the text to me, the last text. I didn't even give him a thumbs up. I just let it go. You know, it's sad that he has gotten himself into this scenario, and it really is. It's very, very, very bad that he wants to, in short, I guess is the best way to put it, that he wants to insult the community across the board about how wonderful and great he actually is. So I'm going to go back here and tell you another little story about him. Quintessential Cameron fashion. The library book debates ends in quintessential Cameron fashion. I want to talk about a gentleman that I respect very much. If you have an opportunity, and by the way, I'm giving these shouts outs because I believe in these people. Dan Landy, I believe in his writing. You should do it. WordPress.com, Patriot Post, Dan Landy. In this case here, he has to throw the curve. And the minute I saw quintessential, I thought of Q's view or Q's views on the internet. The man is a very well written man. He's a very well respected man. He's very dedicated to the community and very dedicated to his family. He covers many different topics, but he really stays within the zone. If my memory serves me correctly, he stays within the zone of city council meetings because he wants people to be informed. And I would say, if anything else, he's very articulate about this. And that would be Quentin Lovejoy. Quentin Lovejoy and I have had only one conversation. Again, I'm brash. I'm not going to hide it. I'm bold and I'm brazen. I'm not his cup of tea. And I understand that. In fact, I'm not a lot of people's cup of tea. But those that get to know me understand one thing about me. I don't mince words. My actions, I follow through with. I follow through with my words. And in my actions, I do so. So, Quentin, that was a great shout out to you. And I just thought to myself, this guy here, I mean, I have to go back to it for a moment, see if I can read any of it, which it's kind of hard to do. But akin to the last paragraph down here, akin to hillbillies watching a freak show, they point their fingers, hoot, holler, and spend their dollar, then get shown out the door without realizing it was all a charade. That is the way this man feels and views the Cameron community. The people that want to do the right things, the people that want to try to do the right things, he actually wants to basically call them names. And I've got to tell you, it's all on the Cameron City Citizens Observer newspaper. You can get it online. It's there. It's just sad that he does this. Again, he repeatedly does this. The professionalism is not there. His hatred, his anger for people is obvious. And all I can say is he's a goofball. He's a putz. And he gives publishing a really bad name. Now, he has another piece here. I thought I was going to be able to show, and no, I'm not going to be able to show. And Dave, if you could pop up, I'm going to need a certain email. I don't know if you're going to be able to make it before the end of the show. I just realized this, folks. It's kind of sad, but why I ride and you should too. Now, this is just a prep to really getting to know the Putz. This is really just a prep of getting to know him. In the 4th paragraph, he writes, I've torn down and rebuilt my bicycle so many times it's almost muscle memory. How much can this guy, and when he writes all this stuff, it's all about him, how great he is, how wonderful he is. And I cannot make this stuff up. It's sad. It's horrible that people are having to deal with, and I'm going to say it, propaganda, fake news. That's what this man is truly all about. So I have one last article that I'm going to show. And I think you're going to like this. Before I get into Mr. Putz's real moral authority of Cameron, when I get into his base armor, and here we go, the last article. And I'm going to have to read it off the piece of paper in front of me, and I'm proud to do so. And it speaks about myself. I'm going to read the last two, by the way, the last 2 paragraphs. I have no shame, by the way. Nothing. I'm okay. This is his opinion. He's entitled to it. The irony of the situation was watching Vincent Cooper, Landy and Gilbert's lackey. Yep, that's me, lackey. Chuckling during one of the more lively parts of the meeting. He reached out to me earlier about putting me on his lease so I could have a Cameron residence and speak during the school board meetings. No. I told him I would have to have a friend in Cameron to place on a lease. Maybe he'd do it. I don't know. It wasn't really a discussion. But this is the way he likes to twist the words. He also requested I travel to Lake Viking to cover a news story he had with his local homeowners association, as if looking for some validation. In the middle of the conversation, he attempted to rationalize sexual attraction to minors. I can't make this up. I will, of course, tell you more about that story in just a moment. In fact, I think I'm going to do that before I get on to his little deal. In closing, the last paragraph, as he left last Thursday, I read his shirt, which said, "Hey, teacher, leave them kids alone." Considering his ongoing felony trial for harassing teens, maybe he should take Pink Floyd's advice. Moreover, considering how Landy accused Cameron school teachers and administrators of being groomers because they happen to work with disgraced teachers like Derek Williams. Why not judge them by their own standards and find them guilty by association for ties to Cooper? If Cameron teachers are pedophiles by association, then so are they. And I've got to tell you, in the middle of the article, in fact, just a couple sentences up, he can't even spell the word pedophile. So let me give you a little idea. So my sister is about 14. She's she's blooming. She's growing up. She's 13, 14. She walks out the front of the house in a pair of clogged shoes. I don't know if you guys remember clogs. Platform shoes, high heels. And Daisy Duke shorts, the ones that are cut about 1 inch in the corner in the crotch. And a tube top. All dolled up morning, 11 o'clock. And she's walking down a driveway. And I said to my sister, and I love my sister, by the way. I'm not throwing her under the bus, but this is a story that's so cute. Can't help but say it. I said, "Where are you going?" And she said, "I'm going to Franny Hernakowitz's house." I said, "No way. No way. Not dressed like that, you're not." She said, "You ain't my dad." And I turned back into the house and said, "Yo, Pop, come here." So he came there. I said, "Check her out. She's going over to Franny's house." Now, Franny had an older brother, Jackie, and a next door neighbor, Billy Hiller. The boys are we're all about the same age. You know, the raging hormone thing. You know it. And my father says, you get your tail back in here and put some clothes on. You're not going over there dressed like that. But you know, the funny part about that was, and I laugh to this day thinking about it, my sister's accessories suddenly grew. She was no longer carrying a little tiny purse on her, what they would call, I think, a countess purse with lipstick and money and stuff of that nature. But she started carrying a luggage bag, which meant she's going out dressed, appropriately. And in that luggage bag, in her purse, in her bag, well, that was where all the goodies were, like the, funky little shoes, the little short shorts, and a little tops that were probably a little bit more revealing. That's what kids do. We push the boundaries. We laugh about it now. You have to. Now, the second story that I told this Putz went like this. I'm in St. Paul with a buddy of mine. I'm 38. He's like 40. We're waiting in line with a group of people, family, that are at like a Dairy Queen kiosk. It's a hot day. We want to get ice cream. This Cadillac pulls up, almost like a brand new one. And this gal gets out, and these kids get out on the other side. Two teenage girls are dressed in, typical teenage dress. They had T-shirts on and shorts and flip-flops. And this woman gets out, or what appears to be a woman gets out, and she is smoking. I mean, seriously. Mini skirt, stilettos, black leather mini skirt, and a blouse with her cleavage showing. Makeup to the max. I mean, beautiful. I figured she was about 28, maybe 32. That's what I figured. And my buddy was hopeful that she was, because he's like, dude, look at her. I'm like, wow. We're men. That's what men do. We look at and appreciate beauty. All of us look at women differently. Some like women that are thicker, taller, leaner, skinnier, wider. We like it with big boobs, no boobs, big thighs, little thighs. The bottom line is this: men, it's a visual attraction. And women, you do the same thing. You like our pipes. You like our chest. You like our butts. You like our bums and butts, whatever. You like our height, our eyes, our what color of our. It's the physical attraction of people. But anyway, the three of them come walking down, and I happen to be eyeballing her and looking at her. I'm thinking, wow, I'm going to probably see if maybe she wants to go out sometime. And him and I are kidding on who's going to ask her out. And all of a sudden, one of the girls turned to my buddy, because I'm looking in line at the moment, seeing the line move up. And the one girl says, stop looking at us, you dirty old man. And I turned around and said, what did she call it? What, me, you, what? And she goes, stop looking at our girlfriend, you dirty old man. Well, we were both floored to think that this girl, so dressed to the nines, looking like she was 28, 32, and I mean looking like she was in her late 20s, early 30s, driving a brand new Cadillac, obviously not hers, mommy and daddy's. I thought it would have been hers. Obviously, he did too. And I looked at her and I said, whoa, dressed like that, I wouldn't have let you. If you were my daughter, you would never have gone out of the house dressed like that. I would have had you change, because you look like you're a streetwalker down on Grand Avenue. And knowing that you're a teenager, 17, 18, how old are you? And I can't tell you, she didn't say. She might have been 18, 19. I doubt it. At this point, I strongly doubt it. Probably about 17. And I said, you know what? You'd end up having to give men back change because you don't have any experience, because you look like a hooker. And they left. They were so upset they left. A man actually walked up to me. He was with his family. And he said, dude, he goes, I was about ready to just flat out say, she looks like a whore. And that's sad to think that people in society would look at this girl just for a moment, like this scenario, and look so down on her because she's dressed in such a way that's so appealing and normal to a man. Maybe in this day and age, even women look at women like that. But this was a young child, and it made me think of my sister. So was I sexually attracted to this individual knowing she was, quote unquote, a child? Oh, hell no. See, Putz wants to turn words around. And that is not a good thing that media should do. That's not a good thing at all. So let's talk about the Putz. You know, he tells us that he rides a bicycle because it's a good thing to do. It's good on the climate and it's a cheap repair. And of course, if you look at his physique, you've seen it. He looks like he could be a professional cyclist, but he's not. He's anything but a professional cyclist. I believe he has to ride a bike because it's amazing. You can't make this stuff up. You can't. I don't care who you are. I'm going to have to share the screen once again, and I'm going to be bringing in something you're going to really like. This came from Search Public Records. And here we go. Search Public Records. This is out there for you, folks. James Eric Putz, age 39. Date of birth, 11/19/84. Yep, I got that memorized. Now, why am I showing this? Why am I showing this? I'm showing this because I can't make this up. Here we go. Let's do this one right here. 32 criminal charges on public record for Jimmy Putz. And this is just a public service announcement. Again, a public service announcement. So here you go. I figured it's Christmas time. I'd show that one. And back to the screen. We get into possible relatives. We don't want to go into any of that. That's just not of importance. But this is what we do want to get into. Arresting agency. Jimmy Putz, white male. Driving while suspended. That would be 1 of 10 that are found. No warrants. I guess it's, of course, not updated yet. He doesn't have a warrant, like I showed earlier. Maybe he's got it taken care of. I don't know. But he's got a failure to appear in court. So he's a responsible man by the sounds of this one. Okay? We've got another one here. I can't make this up. This guy here, he's been picked up. And believe it or not, they can't even put down what he's arrested for. That's the saddest part about. There's a case number, the whole 9 yards, but you can't tell. He's got a criminal trespass. I can't make this up. You can read it for yourself. That's a criminal trespass. What does that give him? If you see it right down here in the middle, what does that give him? Well, it gives him something like, let's look at this one. Search public records of James Eric Putz for his criminal record. Yes, I brought him to your laptops, into your homes. I'm hoping you're appreciating this, by the way. I'm going to try and full screen this, by the way, so I can get out of here completely. And I want you to be able to read it naturally. Well, that's about as full screen I could get, I guess. Yep. Maybe I could go here. Zoom. There we go. There we go. Maybe. Yeah, we'll go there. So we got a criminal trespass. We have a burglary, not dwelling. What is that about? What is that about? We get a probation violation. I can't make this up. 22 charges are found. I'm not making this up. 22 charges are found yet. And he is supposed to be a moral authority. Beware burglars like Jimmy Putz, found on public search records. Yes, this is found on public search records. And, you know, I actually have been in contact as of today with 5 different agencies around the country, Texas, Kansas, and Missouri, finding more and more and more about this individual. And it just doesn't stop. This is all public record. He wants to do something like this with me. He wants to do this to Dan Landy, slandering him, lying about him. Criminal trespass. Maybe you can see that in Johnson County. Yep. We've got a criminal damage of $1,000. It's a felony 9. Felony 9. We've got a fail to yield at a stop sign. Horrible driver. Don't know why he's lost his license just yet. Don't know why. He's got violation of driver's licenses, restrictions. He's got even one that's not specified. Not specified. Bond was revoked. Another criminal trespass. How is it that this man has all of this going on and Cameron doesn't even know about that? Someone please tell me, Jimmy Potts, it's illegal to drive without a license. I love that little old lady. I think I would love to have her come over for dinner sometime. Seriously, just to take her out for a ride in one of the convertibles. She looks like she'd enjoy it. But seriously, he wants to bring people down. And I'm not the only one, by the way. And I know this. And I'm not all butt sore or anything. Why? Because I know in a matter of weeks, all this that I've been facing is going to come to light. But we've got a probation violation, a burglary not dwelling, a failure to appear, driving while suspended, another not specified. I have a feeling, folks, and this is just an assumption on my part, but I have a feeling that this guy would love to maybe make it on the front page of a newspaper. Of course, being a pillar of our society and someone writing an article as such. But I think I'd like to throw this one. I can't believe they found my criminal charges that didn't make the front page of the newspaper. Jimmy, you can make it happen. You are the pillar of society. You can make that happen. And I know you want to. There's no doubt. So here we go again. I'm just going to continue on. There's an old theft of 500. Failure to use a seatbelt. If you look at the size of it, you can understand why. You need a 40 feet of rope just to go around them and hold them in place. No liability insurance. Driving while suspended. That's in Kansas. Another failed tags expired. Improper parking. And the list goes on. No driver's license. Criminal damage, $1,000 to $25,000. And it was a felony level 9. And there were 2 counts. Sentence was 6 months, 1 year. Dismissed, though, notice this, dismissed by the prosecuting attorney. Chances are money. You can't think it's because he's so clever in his ability to speak. That's for sure. So burglary, not dwelling, another theft, an old theft. And it just gets on and gets on and gets on. I don't understand. Jimmy, can we please get you to share your criminal records to the Cameron newspaper? Cameron needs to see this. He's driving a blue car right now. I was told he was up at Walmart the other day. I can't make this up. Driving a blue car, and I'm very suspect as to whether or not he's got a driver's license. And as he's driving his car, and I'm thinking to myself, what if he doesn't have a license? What if he actually kills someone or injures or maims someone? You can't make this up. And it just goes on and on and on. Criminal trespass. There we go. Criminal trespass. It's a misdemeanor. But, he's supposed to be getting like 6 months. He was found guilty. There you go. Guilty. 6 months to a year probation. I don't get it. How come he is walking the streets? Well, I'm going to continue on here for a moment. I want to take it out of the screen because I want to go here and get caught up. And why do I need to get caught up? I need to get caught up because I just don't think you're not going to believe what I'm going to show soon. So you think that you know someone all that well in the community, the pillar of the community. And then what the heck? Let's go back to, of course, the program. Let's add this in here. I'm going to read this slowly to you, folks. And I'm going to go out of the screen right now. It 3 times because he's such a good citizen, Is it possible? I don't want to think that it is, but it's sad. He is, and he will. This is where he's going to be soon. This is Jimmy trying to figure out how to hide his criminal charges from the public. That's what he's doing now. He's going to be doing that tonight. I can't wait to see him at the school board meeting. And he's going to do that. He's going to try everything. I can't make this stuff up. I just can't. It's so sad, and I mean this. It's so sad. I'm going to open up another browser, and I'm going to put in my email address. I have to pull this up. It's so sad when you look at a person as such that you really want to like him. In fact, I have a friend of mine, and I think after this last bit of his outburst, that's what I'm going to say. I think after his last outburst, I really do feel as though he's not going to, I just don't think he's going to really like, I don't think he's going to like his, I don't think he's going to like his life. I think he's going to be very, very, very upset. People report scanning. I think this might be the one I wanted to do. No. Here we go. So give me a moment. I'm going to open this up. And again, I can't make this up. But, you know, Jimmy has had it out for me since, can't remember when the article came out. I'm going to say May sometime. But he's had it out for me. But what really bothers me about this, and I mean this bothers me about this, is the fact that he will not be honest to the community. He will not let the community know all of the things that he is literally doing. So without further ado, I'm going to do another ad screen here, and I'm going to see about, well, we're going to stop screen on that one. And again, boy, I miss my day, my Don Corleone. I miss him so much. And let's see if I can do the share screen and go to my email, which is right here. And I'm going to share screen it with you. And I'm going to see if I can get it big enough for you to read, or at least to visualize. I'm going to
Vince, I don't mean to butt in, but we can't hear you when you share it on the screen and you drop out.
Here we go. All right, now Dave, can you pull that targeted up one that has my picture in it, please? Oh, I think we've got this going on. I did not realize in sharing the screen that no one was able at full screen. No one was able to hear anything that I said. I am so sorry. So there we go. I think this is the one, isn't it? Yes. Is that a thumbs up?
Yeah, I'm still in the car. I'm almost home, so I'm working on it, buddy.
All right, Dave. Thank you very much. Don Corleone. I'm sorry. So this is what I don't know if I can do this right now. Maybe I can. Why are there no photos attached to these criminal blurbs to let the people know who to watch out for? I'm just curious. Here you've got my picture with a QR code of the warrant for my arrest. And this is allegedly, it's not even gone through court. Yet this allegedly, dare I say, defamation made the front page, complete in color photograph and allegations with a QR code to the warrant public. How is it that he can do it? It was about reaching their audience of low IQ followers. That's what he actually said in this particular article. This is what he said. Is Mr. Potts calling for us all lower IQ than himself, or just setting a segregation of class to make himself feel better about writing a school gossip column? So people with bad teeth, cheap clothes can hoot and holler while watching the freak show from their 6-inch cell phone screen. Quote, Jimmy Potts. Again, with the segregation of the community being promoted, this is not a respectable journalism. This is a witch hunt, defamatory bullying tactics that screams Potts still lives at home with his mommy writing from the baseboard, protected by his keyboard. And this is a wonderful little blurb we put on Facebook. Dang, they should play the whole video. I wish I could. You're not worth it, Putz. I had some zingers in there at the beginning that got cut out. Notice again, it's all about the Putz. It's all about the Putz. I apologize for my language. It's frustrating having to defend Karen students, core value traditions, sports, extracurricular activities, performing arts, from being the next target for a group of men in their 50s, manifesting their midlife crisis in front of a camera for Facebook likes and shares. No, I do not do this for likes and shares. Oh, it's nice to get. The thing is getting out the truthful information. I am a purveyor of truthful information. And right now we've caught you with your butt cheeks showing, the crack showing. The saddest part was listening to one of them rationalize being sexually attracted to 15, 16, and 17-year-old minor girls during a lengthy phone call conversation a few weeks ago. But to quote Razor Ramon, I'm the bad guy. And you know, Razor almost looks like me. He's not quite as handsome, but he almost looks like me. You know, folks, I've got to tell you, this is not good. This is not good journalism. And what really bothers me about this is it takes a village. I mean, I want to know this. I think this lady does too. Why does Jimmy still have a job? Why? Why does he have a job? I mean, he can't, he won't put himself in a factual, truthful mode base, not at all. And you know, it's actually getting worse. And folks, it really hurts me to even think about this. I'm going to see if I can open up on a page here, which is very important to me. I've got to say it like this. We have a wonderful forum. I've been part of the forum, tried to be part of the forum, the Cameron Community Forum to be exact. So I had to add them into this program, and I'm going to close the program with this. This, of course, is the Freedom Smiles. This is for the Cameron Community Forum. I cannot tell you how many times I posted my page on here, but it's sad. And why is that sad? Well, I'm going to tell you in a moment. To the censoring Karens or Kevins, I don't know what they prefer to be called, Queen John Fegert and Princess Aaron Anders. Why does Jimmy get to put articles about anyone he wants to in the community? You can't allow the purveyor of truthful information to present and utilize the forum about Jimmy's factual criminal past to best serve the public interest in protecting themselves from his repetitive bad behavior? Is it of my logical and rational thought that you are purposefully endangering the Cameron community out of the simple fact that you don't like the actions of my character, admittedly being brash, brazen, bold, perhaps too abrasive? I've reached out to you, John, several times. I have offered an olive branch of discussion so we could find common ground. But you don't want to do that. Instead, you require, dictate, and demand total control on the forum, and you remain ignorant of me out of, I don't know, ego, your jealousy, fear that you may even learn there are more things about me that you may actually might like. Is that what's disturbing your senses? Is the unknown of you as you are of this of being a self-absorbed, narcissistic, and self-centered individual who wants to be the leader at all costs? Your actions speak loudly by censoring me and so many others. And I mean, you have censored so many, it's not even funny. And I know this. And people know, they make comments. They, in fact, go to the Cameron Community Forum and Surrounding Areas page, Cameron Community and Surrounding Areas page. And I've been also, right away, just got on there 3 days ago, and they will not let me speak. I don't know who those people are. I do know Aaron Anders is, and I do know of John Frigate. You're no better than the Biden White House of destruction Democrats who openly hate America. How can you, in good conscience, display Washington's crossing of the Delaware on your personal profile page? Your actions of censoring is an utter disgrace to General Washington, the first president of the United States whose character you shamefully mock. Aaron, being the follower that you are and will always be, you display your lack of originality and creativity. Believe it or not, you prefer to put something like this up. That's it. That's all you can offer. And I don't understand that. I'm sorry. That's all you can offer. I don't understand that. I just don't. So I'm going to get back here. To put a Trump flag, for instance, on your page is barely it's just barely a basic necessity at best. Comrade John, you tell us the subject of book must be on the one thread. On one thread, you make us put the subjects of book on one thread. Yet you cover every sport under the sun on the activities of the students. Thank you very much, repeatedly on different events. That's good. But why don't you follow your own lead and put them on one thread as well? I know, like a sports thread. This way here, everything you have to say about the sports are on the sports thread, rather than interrupting the beautiful presentations that Travis, oh, by the way, Travis Eldridge is administrator as well, that he puts, he does presentations of people in the community that are so beautiful. There are so many wonderful commercials, I guess you'd say, about events, about stores that are opening up, different things that are happening in the community. And I've got to tell you, he knocks it out of the ballpark. You, on the other hand, want to keep books on one thread, and when there's something new that's really completely outside of, who wants to go to that thread and look at it, and who even knows it's there? But I do know the answer. You want fresh news. Well, Simple Simon, there is fresh news daily and weekly as well on the book topic. To allow chronological growth of the book topic to be seen on the Cameron Community Forum, much like how you promote the chronological growth of the sports teams? Or will you continue to follow the rules for thee, you peasants, and not for, look at me, the royalty? I have been heard you whine like a child about the book topic. I have caught you in a huge lie calling you out. Grab your Kleenex, John, and delete my post reminding you of your shallow, meaningless promise to come on board when there are real facts about the porn. The real facts have been there for 8 months now, since April, and you have remained silent. Still for what and for who? Oh, the policy-breaking Cameron School Board and feckless cronies at the table. You know, folks, it sounds like it does. It sounds like I'm being very, very brutal. And I don't want to be brutal. I know both go to churches. I know both have the right intention. I know they both serve the community in ways that are very positive. I know this. All three of them do, in fact. And I don't know how many others there are. There might be, 5 administrators. I'm only familiar with 3. And the 3 that I keep bumping heads with, or 2 in particular, are the ones that censor me. I try to give you good information, rock solid information, folks. I'm not making this stuff up just to hear myself talk, which, by the way, I guess during the run of the criminal trespass, the criminal burglaries, the felonies, the whole 9 yards of Jimmy Putz, again, search public records. These guys censor too, and this is the problem we have in America. And if it's happening in our little tiny community, don't get me wrong, I can understand having the FCC regulations, John, Aaron, and Travis, FCC regulations. You don't want anyone dropping the F-bomb. You don't want anyone cursing at all. It's a family community. I get it. Some people like to have that potty mouth. Not potty, that's me, potty, but potty mouth. Coming right out of the toilet. Oh, every now and then I might say, boy, this really pissed me off. This really gets me upset. You know what I'm wanting to say. I just don't say it. I've let loose on one or two podcasts, one in particular just about 2 months ago. But that's because it was about my life. And if I'm going to be that angry, that's me being honest. And he who dares not offend cannot be honest. You know, I'm going to finish this up. You know, Jimmy, going to go back to you. I'm going to give you this. I don't always hear about others. Oh, goodness. I'm trying to get this little blurb out of the way. Come on. Oh, committing voter fraud. But when I do, it's about Jimmy Putz. We've got, of course, you found 32 criminal charges against Jimmy Putz. We have him not being able to, do the right thing as a citizen. Jimmy, please license your animal with the city like every other citizen does. It's the law of Cameron. I'm going to have only a couple more to share with you. Come on, Jimmy, just license your pet. It's not that hard. I'm putting these up here because those of you that want to watch this later, take some screenshots, you may just want to share them out on your Facebook page. It's quite interesting. Jimmy Putz has 32 criminal charges, but you are worried about failure to license a cat. And finally, oh crap, they found 32 criminal charges on Jimmy Putz. So much for being a pillar of the community. I can't make this up. And John, Aaron, and whoever is administrators on the Cameron community surrounding area, stop it. Stop censoring people. If it's vile, if it's vulgar, if it's bad, I get it. I get it. I get it. If it's vile, it's vulgar, I get it. But stop doing it. It's not doing a good thing at all for the community. Nothing. That's our fourth branch of government, is media propaganda. And on a large scale, I tell you, this is happening across the country. They don't tell the story, they twist the tale. It's all about control. It's controlling you, what you say, how you think, what you feel, what you want to share and give and offer. They don't want to hear the truth. And to coin one of my favorite colonels in A Few Good Men, you can't handle the truth. And that's where they are at. They can't handle the truth. I have been under now, I think it's called admin approval. Anything I post, someone has to see it, click on it and say, yeah, that's okay. Again, that's censoring. Nothing I've ever put up on the post, not one thing I have ever put up on the Cameron Community Forum or in the Cameron community and surrounding areas. Now, one thing has been vile, evil, hateful, wrong. It's been factual, truthful. And I believe the Cameron community deserves better than to be censored by the forum. And I think they deserve to be better served in the newspaper that these other people have put together and built. And some of them many years, I'm sure, many years longer there than Jimmy the Putz Potts, who elevates himself to such a way, he's a god. I'm going to end with this one right here. I'm going to hope I can find it, of course. It's one of my favorites. I have spoken, you have heard. You have the facts. Judge. I want you to judge. I want you to tell me whether I did good or if I did bad. If I did right or if I did wrong. I can learn from my mistakes. Why do I say that? Because in the very beginning, I opened up with this. So, Putz, this is for you. Any man can make a mistake. I know I have. But only an idiot persists in his error. Yep. That's very true. Folks, thank you for joining me tonight. God bless you all. From the bottom of my heart, voraciously, I have spoken. I wish you a good night. And it's about, I'm going to play a promo to a show that's coming real soon. And then I'm going to do my outro. So God bless each and every one of you. Pray for our nation. We need it. Till then, peace.